Hello, George here. In this video, we're going to texture the, tabletop, chairs, star thing, and I forgot those hats again. All right, I'll get to the hats eventually. But yeah, let's create a quick texture for these different surfaces. As we can see here, there's really not a whole lot going on, at least that I can see with these textures. It really relies more on lighting. It looks like just some sort of polka dotted, random, sparkly stuff all over. And the chairs are a blackish leathery type material. That sounds weird, and I agree, but that's what it does kind of look like. Yeah, okay, let's begin. Although the floor looks like it's a weird purple and pink tile. That's kind of ugly. All right, so let's create, or actually let's not create, let's load in the UVs that we already generated last class. Excuse me, I'm not teaching right now. I'm having fun. Let's go into reproduce it, FNAF, and we want UV maps. Let's start with the party. So I made a mistake. You know how I was talking about the table and how I need this little side skirt? Well, I was confused. I thought these shadows were actually, like, it was, I basically thought that this fabric was kind of going up and down a lot. Meaning there was, maybe tears in it or cuts in it, but it looks like these are really just the shadows of the chairs. But I've already gone to this extent that I'm going to go ahead and make it look a little bit more interesting. Just for my own, giggles, minus the curse word. So let's just jump right into the party table itself. Let us create a new layer, go to the back. Let us fill that layer with something like white, because it is the table, and the table is primarily white. Let's hit Control-I to invert, get rid of my grid. And we got the table chairs here, we've got the underside of the table right there, and we have, of course, the tabletop right over here. Hey, you know what? Let's do a Google image search. So let's let us look for table underside and see if there's an image of something like that. Image, I want like a crap table underside is what I really want. And can I get something relatively straight on, or at least something I can manipulate a bit? I didn't specify wood. Maybe, is it wood? You think it'd be wood on there? Maybe it's a crummy plastic one? Ooh, I like that texture. Ooh, even better. How big is that? Oh, that image is tiny. Let us do a search tool size. Let's do larger than 2 megapixels. I kind of like this material. I kind of like how that looks. So let's view that image. Copy it, bring it over into Photoshop. Let's go ahead and just paste it on down here. You know what? No, let's not paste in here. Let's do a new image. I like to work in separate images when I'm doing this kind of stuff. Let's transform this. Let's double click. All right, we don't need to. Control-T, right click. Let's do a distort. And we're just going to, yes, I know this is a picture frame. This isn't the bottom of the table, but I do like, one, that it's a high quality image, and two, it kind of reminds me of the cheapo tables that you used to have, and that little curl over there. So I'm gonna go with it. Let's continue to transform this, distort, scroll out, move that over to about there, and I am going to clip this a little tiny bit, maybe right about there, and maybe a tiny bit up and a tiny bit over. Yeah, there we go. Enter, make sure it's clipped. Control D, actually. Let's use the healing brush tool. They changed that icon? That's different. Okay, let's see if we can't heal out this nonsense. Great, and we'll get rid of that. You know what, that's kind of, I like that. That's kind of character. You know what we do need, though? Some dirt and grime. Let's look up grime. Images. Okay, that just turned NSFW real quick. Let's look up mold or water stain. That's what I want. Stain, let's look up water stain. Go to images, and yes, this is the kind of stuff I want. An old, it's not like anyone's going to go under this table, but hey, let's go that extra mile and paste it on in here. Scale it up. Let it interpolate. And let's just do an overlay. Simple, that overlay's a bit much. Let's Control L this real fast. Check out our levels. Balance them out a bit. And just, take a look at what we got here. See what? Oh, I like that. That's good. Let's reduce it though, just a tiny bit. Yeah, yeah. Let's do that. And actually, I'm going to do a mask over this. We're going to do a radial mask coming out from the center. Actually, I want the opposite of that. Let's do Control I. The idea is probably the outside areas are going to be more stained than the inside areas. At least that's in my theory, maybe. So we'll go with it. Let's hit Control A, Control Shift C to copy everything. Control V in here, and we're going to have to stretch this out a bit. So let's just rotate this in place. Put that about there, and move this somewhere. I don't know. That looks pretty good. Hit OK, apply, perfecto. Next up are these feet, and I'm pretty sure they're just a standard gray color. I'm probably not going to mess with that too much. So let's just, you know what I just realized? This has got kind of this weird highlight on one side. That's annoying me quite a bit. Let's do a Control V to paste the entire image on top of this. Control I to invert the image. Control L to really ramp things up. Control U to get rid of saturation. And then let's just see if we can't overlay this on top of everything we already have to try to kill. Ugh, it's looking even worse. Let me blur it. I'm just trying to balance the levels a bit in this image because they are kind of insane. Control A. Is that better? Is that worse? Let's take a look. Let's do a side-by-side comparison here. It doesn't look better, but then again, it looks like the exact same thing. Let's undo that. Let's make sure we actually have this. Let's see. What is this at? 51. That's soft light. Ooh, yeah, I like that a little better. So let's go to this and also unsaturate a bit. Control A, Control Shift C, Control in here, Control V, and now let's do a test to see which one I like better. Let's get it like the same size, and I'll put them side by side. Yeah, it's fine. All right. Yeah, I like this one. This one's got too much highlight on the other side, so let's push this one right about there and nuke the other layer. It's a little bit, it's still, I should spend more time on that one, but it's under the table, and I already spent way more time than I probably should on something like that. So let's just snake this around here, use our lasso tool to very, very, very quickly, and now let's cheat and use the rectangle tool, and just grab all of that area right there, zoom in, and I am going to probably remove this. Whoops. Remove this. Just get a little bit further away. Okay, let's give it some gray. What do we want? Why am I doing that? Let's add that back in. Gray, right? Just gray. All right, make a new layer. Let's call this feet. Shift F5, fill it with foreground color, Shift D. Come in here. I'm going to duplicate this layer. Do a filter, blur, Gaussian blur, blur it quite a bit, and actually make it ever so slightly bigger in behind. The idea behind this is, where are my UVs? This is my UV, yes. Let's label everything, bring it to the top, and take a look at what's going on here. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see if we can we do something like darken? There we go, that's easier to see. So I'm a little close with the underside one. Let's move this to the bottom. Move that. I just want a little bit of a buffer, a pixel buffer, so that when the bitmaps get generated, I'm not really screwing myself on this stuff. I'm just gonna something like that. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine. And actually, I'm gonna grab the background color now. Control hit I, grab a color, and let's just paint this area right. Ooh, that's not the brush I want. F5. Let's turn off. Let's just do a normal brush. There we go. F5, by the way, brings up my brush settings, in case you did not know that. Photoshop is amazing. I recommend you learn it if you have not already. Okay, so there we go. We've got that. We've got this horrible thing over here. The feet. Can't we add some noise? We can add Photoshop noise, but I hate that noise because it's so typical. Everyone knows what it is. Let's just look for, let's see, not aluminum, steel, gray, metal, something like that. I don't want it reflective, though. I don't want this kind. I want the kind of, you know, let's look at that. Yeah, it's got some nice brushwork to it. Let's copy this image, paste it on in here, zoom on out, scroll it down a bit, and let's use it for our own purposes. So something like that, maybe. Yes, bring this down. I want it there. Let's go do an overlay, maybe. But I don't want it to impact the image quite so severely. Something maybe more like that. Even that's pretty harsh. Let's blur this. Filter, blur. Let's use a Gaussian blur. Very light blur. Very light blur. And I'm even going to bring the opacity down just a little bit more. I just want a tiny bit of that to sort of push through. I don't want it to go too crazy. All right, now that I have that, let's hit I, come back to this layer. Let's paint a little bit more, hit the B key to go to our brush, and I'm just going to, and that's a mistake. So we're going to reset our colors and come here, grab all of this stuff right here, and give Shift F5, hit Enter, fill it in, Shift D, or Control D, whatever. I did something.